Okay, there are speed limits that one needs to drive, one needs to, have when driving. So I want you to guide us on speed limits, like when you're on the highway, what's a particular speed limit? Like sometimes they will say if you are going to Lagos, from Benin to Lagos, they will say do not drive more than 100 kilometers, or some persons say don't drive more than 120. I don't know if it's applicable to all vehicles, or it's just like, okay, use your discretion, but how would you describe speed limits, and how can drivers flow with speed limits when driving?
As much as yes, I will still say it here, but every driver should be able to know the speed limit on the vehicles, also on the roads that they're running. It's the standard. That's why I said every driver must attend a driving school. We have what we call, we have a 26 working day, where you are supposed to be in and out of classes.
26?
Yes, 26 working days for driving school. After which you still take an examination, a very compulsory examination. Your data, your face will be captured. That's how advanced we've gone. Your face will be captured, and you write the examination there. It's an online examination. You write, the result comes out instantly, whether you pass, and if you don't pass, you still repeat it.
Okay. I
don't know if you understand. So every driver must be aware of the relevant regulations on road safety regulations. Do you understand? That empowers you to drive on the road. Okay. Now, yes, different roads might have their different speed limits according to the safety requirements. Okay. Do you understand? But then there is a general standard. Once you're on the highway, you're expected to run 100 kilometers for saloon vehicles and private vehicles, such as Jeep and saloon vehicles, But for commercial vehicles, buses, it's 80 kilometers per hour. That's the maximum. Do you understand? Commercial vehicles, 80 kilometers per hour. Saloon vehicles and Jeep private, 100 kilometers per hour. That's the maximum speed limit.
Some persons go as far as 120, yes. 140.
The trucks, articulated vehicles, between 60 to 70 kilometers per hour. Then, when you are now in town, inbuilt areas such as markets and schools, where people are staying and all of those inland, you're expected to run between 30 to 50 kilometers per hour.
Okay.
And then there is also what we call common sense speed.
Okay, which one is that?
Yes. You should be able to use your head and say, okay, even if, yes, the speed limit is 100 kilometers, when you are getting to Coca, are you supposed to be running 100 kilometers? Your sense is supposed to tell you that, I'm getting close to a junction. Do you understand? Let me reduce my speed to something I can manage in case, because at that point, someone might just enter the road. Do you understand? Because it's a built-up area. Okay. Do you understand? Someone might just enter the road, unconsciously, without even, some people who have so many things they are thinking about, they're not going to even look. So you as a driver, how do you react? Okay. Do you understand? So you must be able to also use that common sense speed. You might also be on the express and there is something happening in front. Are you still going to be using that speed? You're going to reduce it, you understand, to be able to know what is happening in front. Is there traffic there? Is there... But you still see some people, they'll still be using that same speed. In fact, some of them might also engage in distracted driving. They are driving at that speed and not concentrating on the road. They are either using their phones to make call, or maybe trying to tune the radio on their, the volume on their radio, or tune to another channel, or maybe looking at one signboard or the other, putting their attention there. Do you understand? So you must be able to avoid some of those things.
Okay, so like for the passengers now, so what do you advise for the passengers when driving? Are there things they should also look out for in a driver for us to have a safety driving to wherever it is we are going?
Of course, yes. You must look out for the vehicle and the driver. If you also notice that the driver is under the influence of alcohol, you must speak out. In fact, one happened recently. I'm trying to remember the route, I think Benin or so. It went viral on social media. The driver was highly intoxicated. Highly intoxicated. It was affecting his driving so much that they were so afraid of their lives. They compelled the driver to stop, and they made a video. It went viral on social media, and we swiftly contacted the transport company in charge of the driver. Even though the penalties have been meted out to them, they also fired the driver.
I've been in a vehicle where we're coming from, that was in Enugu. We went to, I think, somewhere for a wedding. On our way back, the driver just opened up a cigarette, lit one up, and he was smoking and driving. I had to react. I said, no, please stop. He refused. So I just waited. We saw a police checkpoint ahead. When we just got there, they said, look, this is what this driver is doing. And they asked us to come down. They packed us.
Of course.
I attended to it.
Yes, that's why I told you, all the agencies have the training to address such issues. So you as a passenger must speak up. Don't tolerate it, because your life is at risk. I don't know if you understand me, your life is at risk. So all you can do, just either you report, or you can even get a video. Do you understand? Get an evidence and share it with us, and we know what to do. We have what we call Road Transport Safety Standardization Scheme. Now this scheme brings about uniformity and standard operation of all fleet owners. Fleet owners includes both transport companies, any organization that that has more than 3 to 5 vehicles. Do you understand? We call them fleet owners. That means they have plenty of vehicles and drivers. And as such, there is a standard operational guideline for all of them. So you must have a safety manager who must be able to check the vehicle, check the drivers. No driver is allowed to be under the influence of alcohol. That is why we also have breathalyzers that we use to check them on the road. And when we find out that you are running under you are driving under the influence of alcohol, we'll not just penalize you as a driver, we'll also penalize your transport company. Do you understand?
So that they would definitely take caution for others as well.
Of course. So that was actually what we did when we saw that video online. We penalized the company, and we also made sure that the driver was also penalized. So as such, the driver was beyond the penalty that we also gave him. The company also sacked him.
So everyone has a role. Everyone has a role to play.
Of course.
In terms of safe driving on our highways.
Of course. The passengers have a role to play. The drivers have a role to play. Even the pedestrians have a role to play. Because at one point or the other, the driver becomes a pedestrian. At one point or the other, a pedestrian also becomes a driver. So everybody, every category of road user, whether you are motorcyclist or tricyclist or anywhere you find yourself, you have that responsibility